Hello, this is Michael from Blue Gem Tarot. In today's pick a card reading episode, I'm gonna be doing the Why Do People Love You? This is going to be a timeless pick a card reading. Um, I'm gonna be focusing on the aspects that people love about you and why they overall love you and you don't see or you don't necessarily notice. I think this is going to be quite interesting for those of you struggling with self-love or with the idea of you finding yourself whether you are lovable or not. Okay. um, Also, I think that I will create some sort of a spread for this one, but yet I'm not sure which one I'll be using, but for sure I will update you in each of your piles. I think it's going to be a identical one in each. So for this reading we have as usual three piles. We have the first pile with the red elephant, the second pile with the black elephant, and the third pile with orange elephant. Okay, pick the pile you most resonate with. If you find yourself in the reading, then it's definitely for you. If you don't, you can change and pick another pile. You can basically change the pile. You can also listen to multiple or even all of them if you feel specifically drawn towards doing that. Okay, let's, I think, begin the reading. Okay, pile number one, those of you who chose the red elephant. This is going to be a reading. So the first card we have is the end of a tough cycle approaches with the full moon in Capricorn. Some of you could be that sign in your chart, or generally speaking, this is not quite relevant for me. I don't like mentioning zodiac signs, but still. I feel like why do people love you can come off from a work perspective or a work standpoint. Now, don't get me wrong, this is not conditional. I don't want to go there, but it's something about you that's very persistent. I see the Capricorn sign as being very persistent, a very hard nut to crack, and also someone with an attitude of a really hard worker, but also someone who isn't willing to give up yet. This is giving off very persistent, very stubborn, very powerfully grounded in their own sense of I do whatever I want. There is a lot of respect and recognition, and in the context of why do people love you, it's basically your character for this pile. I feel like, and I'm sure we will cover many more things in the reading, but I generally like this is the first card and is the most important one. So it's something about the way in which your character is built that's very cozy, also very admirable, also, and with a tough cycle. I feel like you are very enduring as well, and people really acknowledge that sense of I will stick through it, you know. It's also a quality of being unwavering, okay? That's coming through with this pile. And also something about you is making people want to learn more about you, learn about how you became so enduring, and it's as if people would want to ask you for some sort of advice, for some sort of training, even like how are you making it happen. We would like to know, and um, we would like you to enlighten us. Like that's the whole thing. And there is something about also like that the ending of a tough cycle. I feel like people love that you don't give up generally. Like you don't give up on people that you love. You don't give up on many things. It can come off as a shadow, but I won't cover that today. Something about this pile is, as I said, very consistent, very committed. If you put your mind to it, you are very like committed to it, and people love this about you. I also want to say this is a pile that feels like people see you as a very valuable person, and someone that they wouldn't wanna lose. Okay, that's the energy I feel coming through. And it's also an energy of we better don't disappoint them. Like, I don't feel like, because this is earthy energy, I feel like, it's very hard to disappoint you to the point where you cut that person off. But people generally don't like when they've lost a chance with you. And what they love about you, it's like they love your character, they love who you are, and they don't want to miss on the opportunity of being with you. That's what's coming through. And as I was shuffling, we have the Ten of Pentacles. Now, don't think that when I say hardworking or I will cover money in here, this is not about conditional love. I want to say what people love about you in this case, it's something more of who you are. It's undeniable, you can't get rid of it. It's pertaining to the soul, if you get what I'm saying. It's eternal. It's like a character set of yours. And with the Ten of Pentacles, people adore the stability. They feel really nurtured. I feel like this containment or this safety or this, like, it's like a corner of happiness, of contentment, of safety, of stability with you. You could bring groundedness in relationships, but Ten of Pentacles, I see it as a very, very powerfully grounded in reality card, powerfully grounded in the present moment card, as well as people enjoying the fruits of basically your character unfolding into life. Um, I will say people love the fact that the ways in which you manage things around you are making everything flourish. Undeniable as well is the fact that they do enjoy and love the consequences and the, as I said, fruits of your labor. That could be money, that could be stability, that could be a house for some of you. It could be sharing spaces with people, with friends. I don't know, different situations can come up. But there is something about this palette that is unwavering and doesn't give up, and like almost sponsorship is coming through with the Ten of Pentacles. And don't get me wrong, people don't want to profit off of this, but they enjoy you so much that also they are very surprised, and it comes as a bonus that your actions in the world come with some sort of a positive uh, effect upon them as well. So it's like, it's really nice that we have pile number one because of how much abundance we can have in this life because of their participation. Also, the Ten of Pentacles shows like a very old person in here. It could be that you are like this foundational primary person. Like, I would not be surprised if pile number one is also regarded as a person with a lot of experience and who's very wise, or who knows the ways of life in a way or another. Now, don't get me wrong, we have the Nine of Swords in here and the Ten of Cups in reverse. I feel like what you're loved for, and this is very interesting, I don't know how to place the category in this information, but I want to say when pile number one usually is not very vulnerable. Pile number one is usually not so used to sharing their issues, their concerns and pains in general. But I want to say people find it's not the word endearing. For some it's even endearing, but it's very lovable when you come off like soft and vulnerable, despite you being afraid of not being seen as quite serious or as if you don't have everything together. I want to say what people love about you in this context is going to be the raw vulnerability in which you can open up and be yourself and express doubt when you do have it, okay? It's, the golden ticket in this pile is going to be about the Ten of Cups in reverse. So it's like when people get really close to you, it's a very rare chance that they see you opening up, and it's very beautiful. I want to say that. Overall, I feel like this pile one is like a very polished, refined, also very guarded gem. Guarded gem, that's weird, but I don't know. Polished in a way where this pile feels like they have gone mentally in a lot of things, and they reviewed things from their life in a very, very thorough way. It's almost as if, there are no rough edges. You thought everything through, and there is little to no error to find something that wasn't covered. So perfectionism could be the case for this pile as well. And this collective, like, let's be honest, I wanted to channel, but this collective feels kind of tense, very, let's say, guarded, but in a good way, like preventing chaos and preventing the worst things from happening from me and from my loved ones first, and then me somehow. Like, this pile, they're very responsible, you're very responsible. That's what's coming through. And to be honest, I feel like at times there are little to no traces of emotion, and that's kind of weird because this is, the stability, like the stability and the raw power of your vulnerability is coming through. And it's very strange. People, when they meet you in real life, they feel like you don't have emotions, despite with the Nine of Swords, something is brewing there from some very long time, and it's like almost as if it's eating you from inside. Of course, I'm not gonna go there necessarily because this is why do people love you, but this is giving me like, why do people love you? It's almost like that king from a story that touches everything and it becomes gold. Of course, not in the bad way, because we do have the repercussions of that in the story, but whatever pile number one touches becomes this gold, becomes this highly valuable thing, whether it be a circumstance, a job, especially work related. I saw the Eight of Pentacles, but it's not limited to only work. I feel like you could be someone who has a very committed attitude to everything in life. So whatever you touch is gold. This could refer to relationships as well. You could have like a very high maintenance of relationships, and this is coming through as being very like lovable. And I want to say genuinely, people, when they see you, it's something that they don't necessarily see every day. And there are a few who understand the caliber of your personality, and they don't want to like scare you off. They don't want to come too strong in the beginning. But there is a lot of impression, admiration that's being kept under guard, that's kept repressed somehow for you to not see it, for you to not get. And this pile is not gonna get scared, but you could be very controlling to the degree where these people could be like, you should be really, really careful with what we display with this pile, because they could be scanning things, That's what I'm feeling like is coming through with this. I also want to say we have in here the Seven of Swords. This is going to be both in good and bad ways, but this pile feels like a mastermind. But it's kind of an authentic, mastermind. It's almost as if there would be ecological ways in which you could deal with, like, it's not, I don't want to like make it sound like it's ecological manipulation, because I don't feel like this is the right thing to say. But there is some very decent, very honest, authentic way in which you could deal with things, that could be coming off with a Seven of Swords as a master move, or something of a shadow move, or something that you could do in the shadow. But I don't feel like we have in here some negative intention. It's almost as if you could be considered one step ahead of the game, because there is a lot of time and resource that you want to save and not waste it on useless, time-consuming project situations or people. It's as if this pile is very good and very trained in filtering everything in their life. With the Seven of Swords, it's as if you could specifically very and like on point accurately get rid of something that is like as of a nuisance, but you could have a very healthy and also ecological mindset to it. So it's like, if you encounter, like, let's give an example. If you encounter a toxic relative, let's say, this pile is not going to be very nice to them in the sense that they are going to cover up the fact that they don't feel like they can combine and feel compatible, but also you're not going to be confrontational. It's almost as if being very smart and very authentic about the decision to not let this person in and participate, and there is nothing personal about it. That's the being smart, not being naive. This pile is not naive. This pile is very calculated, but for their own benefit, but also for the benefit of the greater like scheme, so as to not upset or to not destroy something by mistake. Now this is interesting because this is coming through as universally, not necessarily what people love about you. This could be what people love about you and they know it. But I feel confident saying that I don't know that a lot of people know what's going on. I feel like universally you're being loved, and this is some sort of, if people knew, they would love you so much for this. If they knew, they would respect and love you so much for this, for these qualities. So I was thinking about the ways in which I could diversify the message. Not diversify, but make it more concrete. And I asked something just for entertainment, like, give me something spicy, okay? And when I say spicy, it could be relating to physical attraction, it could be related to romance, whatever. And we have Temperance. This is so funny because it came through. You are being seen as also, and very loved for how well put together, and also how assual you can be because of it, because people fall in love with how serious you can be. The Temperance for me is someone who's very, very well put together. Now you decide whether it's true or not, but I want to say both. It's both vulnerability and that seriousness, which is an equal part of your character, are seen as highly desirable. This pile is being highly desired for the fact that they are so beautiful when they are so serious. And I'm not saying that, you're not beautiful when you're not serious, but I want to cover this part where something about your demeanor could be so very very attractive. Like, this is coming through as like spicy energy, because I asked, of course, but what's lovable about you, that's very attractive, it's like the attitude of neutrality and very very well put together with the Temperance. Now this is going to be very interesting as a message. Those of you who have partners, or those of you who like had partnerships in the past, maybe not right now, okay? There is an element of you struggling, or you may be feeling a little bit out of your comfort zone, and people just feeling very endeared because of it. I feel like this is a very rare chance we have with pile number one to see them out there somehow, like solicited in such a way that they feel a little bit messy, or even like all over the place, or anxious. But it's very endearing. Something about it, like people saw you in distress and it's almost as if they wanted to save you and comfort you, like that. Like that's very interesting. Like, why do people love you? In the context of that, it's almost as if we've seen a glimpse in here with the Seven of Wands. This is like very rare for some reason, but you were seen as struggling, and it was very, very endearing. And I feel like this is going to be a trigger for pile number one. But yeah, that's it. I'm just channeling. Okay, don't blame me. But that's the energy. Like, the more vulnerable pile number one is, for the right people, of course, the more it's you get this very people pleased with the result of you being open and authentically, like, not authentically, but like vulnerable, because you can switch that on and off. And I feel like all the time, or most often, pile number one is very, very, let's say, with the switch on, very serious, very well put together. And you could be, but you could have also moments of weakness. And for you it could be weakness, but for some people it's like very, very endearing for some reason. It's very interesting because it came through as like a very important message for pile number one. And I also want to stop at something, because I see the Nine of Swords and it really picks at me somehow, like, and the branches of information, it's like insane. I don't know how to concentrate, how much information can come through. There is something of an issue in here with pile number one, where they feel like, I'm not saying your issue, like you are with an issue or whatever, but I, objectively speaking, see something I want to address. I feel like pile number one deeply believes that if they are not going to be well put together, then something really bad is going to happen. If they are not going to drop the shell that they carry. And don't get me wrong, I could be calling these things shells, whatever, like, if you don't agree, that's totally fine. But it's almost as if your worth is directly linked to the strength, stability, power, and toughness. How tough am I? That's coming through with pile number. Well, like, am I tough enough for this? It's almost as if you have this guard that you carry with yourself all the time, and you believe, or you wonder, are people going to stick to me? Like, are they going to hang out with me if they find out the blank? And for many of you, find out, because this is a reading coming from me, it's going to be, am I stable enough? Am I bringing enough? Am I giving enough? Am I good enough for people? There is nothing you can do that would qualify you as being unworthy or unlovable in this case, but I feel like you have, and I don't feel like this is going to happen necessarily, but because this pile is very stubborn, but still, if you were to hypothetically drop the shell, and this would be like a very triggering thing for you, you would perhaps believe that you won't be loved. And I want to say it's completely the opposite, but this requires a very high degree of, I don't know what to to say, like, in this pile, but you built this identity that makes you in control of the notion of how lovable I am. And I want to say there will be a moment when you'll realize that you were lovable all along, and this shell was like a mechanism that allowed you to cope, or to feel in control, or to guarantee that you won't go into disappointment. It's like reassurance, it's like safety net. It's something, and I'm not saying universally this is not right or wrong. I'm just pointing this out because I feel like the core message is you are lovable with or without the shell. And I feel like I should be mentioning this in the reading. I get overwhelmed with so many cards, but I tried to take multiple. I will stop at one and center on or scope on it. The Empress. I was specifically stuck at the crown. I feel like it's all there within. Like I'm channeling somehow this information. All that you've been looking for, all that you aim for, and you think that it's, I would be best or better if I were this or if I did that. It's there. It's already inside of you. The Empress, it's in this context what people love you for. It's already there. You cannot go for it. You cannot chase it. You cannot go back to it. It's inside. The quality of love that people have for you, it cannot be manipulated by you via the means of doing something, creating something, being something, or displaying something, or not displaying something. But with the Empress, it's like everything is there. Everything is already there. Like, I don't know if you will believe me, but it's those moments where you are raw, those moments where you like literally breathe, those moments where you literally wake up, or when you sleep, because the when you sleep is the best example of what I'm trying to say. When you sleep, you are not very much in control of yourself, in a way or degree or form, whatever. It's like the most raw, the most, let's say, in a sense, because you don't express emotions then, but that's the quality in which you are lovable. Like, you cannot do anything or not do anything, literally regardless of the status. That's how lovable you are. And I want to say there is a huge opportunity in here with the Empress message. A huge opportunity on you to not mess necessarily up. And hear me out, I don't want to add pressure, but I'll make it work for you specifically. People are waiting for you to show up. They are waiting for you to show up in a very like no guard way, like expressing yourself purely beyond restriction and beyond shells. And they want to see it. They are thirsty for it. Like that's what's coming through. And the message is like, people want more of you, and people want more of you expressing that which is beyond that shell, that which lies hidden, that which lies somehow buried beyond this like protection. I feel like pile number one requires a lot of introspection or awareness, self-awareness, in the direction of showing up in the world, in the context of believing in themselves, believing that they are worthy of being out there. That's the message. Because there is no issue in pile number one with people outside of you. It could have been in the past, but I want to say there is no issue. I feel like we are dealing in here with a pile number one who's very talented, who's very expressive, who's very, very much out there and is waiting for, I don't know for what they're waiting. And I'm not pushing in that case. I'm just joking. Like I don't want to. I don't want this message to be like, go do something, or be something, or try to do something. No, it's like a message of, you won't believe. You literally won't believe how much people would be like thirsty to see you out there. And I'm not saying it in a twisted way. I'm seeing it in expressing yourselves. And this is a core expressing of your being into this world. And the clock is 11:11. This is a sad case where, and I don't want to add on to the drama here, but what I want to say is, if you are a potential artist, there are canvases waiting for you. If you are a singer, there are microphones waiting for you. If you are a baker, or if you have some sort of talent, like the tools in the space, let's say, the tools in the universes where, you chose that to express, to step up and express, they are eagerly waiting for you. The tools, and I would like just say hypothetically tools, but it's the world is waiting for you. And you won't believe how lovable you are. That's the core message that's coming through with pile number one. You won't believe, you cannot grasp it, because I feel like we have in here filters of self-perception that are going to get in our way big time, in the ways of, I'm not sure if I'm good enough, I'm not sure if I'm perfect enough, I'm not sure if everything is ideal or whatever. And I'm not saying that I don't struggle with this myself. This is coming from a person who's as well dealing with this on a daily basis. But there is a huge potential for you to live a life of openness, and it's almost like flexibility and energy flow circulating from you in life, in the world, from the world to you, because you cannot grasp how much recognition and how much appreciation you can get back from it. That's with the core message of pile number one. It's like your expression is going to be met with a lot of gratitude, to say the least, because the question for this pile is, why are you not creating? If you are creating, that's great, that's fantastic. If you are living in that shell, if you are living in that comfort like circle, or out of fear you are afraid that, you know, people are going to judge, on a core level it's only you judging yourself, and the reflection you get from people, it's only a confirmation, and it hurts because it's a confirmation of how you feel about yourself. And again, that's coming from a person who's also I'm not saying, I do not like to say I'm struggling, because I'm not. I'm really riding the wave. That's what's feeling. Oh my god, that's how I feel like as of late. But yeah, express more. The star, that's fascinating. The star card, it's like, it could talk also about popularity in this case. Yeah, and we have the Queen of Pentacles, but not without the risk of being exposed. And like, I want to say, you're going to be dealing with the like danger or the rawness of the vulnerability you are going to encounter as a result of the scenario of you showing up in the world. Like, that's when everything is going to click. That's when you're going to feel like you're in a defenseless state. But if you are going to be enduring that, or letting it surge through, it's going to be something that no longer constricts you. Yeah. I I cannot believe I'm saying this, because this is such a good advice for me as well. But yeah, there are things that I'm not ready for as well, I guess. So that was all pile number one. Can't believe how much I resonate with this pile myself. But yeah, I thought we were going to talk about you, but or not, I don't know really, because I can selectively see things that remind me of myself, and also things that, I don't know, I just don't resonate to 100%. But generally saying, this pile would benefit a lot from being out there in the world, no filters, no, like, just being you yourself. And that would be just very fun to watch, and very interesting to a lot of people as well. So that's all, pile number one. I hope you enjoyed the reading. If you did, please don't forget to like, to comment, subscribe, and also consider donating if you enjoyed the reading. I think that's all. Please take care of yourselves. Bye. Okay, and we're moving to pile number 2. Those of you who chose the black elephant. I feel like we could, this is going to be like confirmation for you. Let me close the window because it's very annoying. It could be a confirmation for you that you went through some sort of black sheep of the family dynamic, or you were blamed a lot. This is going to be the how you're going to identify, or how you're going to know that this is you, part of the reading. You have your hard work is paying off in reverse, new moon in Capricorn. Now I feel like we change gears with pile number 2 and talk about a very interesting dynamic, or a very interesting subdivision from your reading, which we didn't do with pile number 1. This is a very strong message of you were specifically given a lot of circumstances that you had to invest yourself at 100,000%. Unfortunately, only for you to be left with the feeling of it wasn't enough, or only with the feeling of burnout and dissatisfaction, or annoyance, or criticism and judgment, and it's almost as if you cannot, there is nothing you can do to get rid of it. That's the feeling with pile number 2. That's how you're going to identify this is you. This is like not a warning, but a message channeled through, saying you are looking for it in not quite the right places. It's almost as if this message wants to strongly affirm that your worth was never linked to what you did or did not do, or how well you performed, or how not so good you performed, not so well. I will not go into the detail about whether you did a good job or not. I'm not gonna be assessing that right now. I'm just saying, hypothetically speaking, your worth and what you're going to find out from this spread is not going to be linked to what you did, and I'm not gonna be applauding on your achievements, which they can be great many, and they can be very respectable, not because they are not, but I feel like this is not going to be the reading which is going to talk about this. I'm quite interested to know, however, what it is that it's going to touch and cover, but it's not linked to productivity 100%. I'm just wanting to cut that out from the start. And I cannot believe it. But again, we have a card from the pile number 1 with a very similar message. You are lovable in the moments where you least expect it, when you least expect it. The Empress, in this case, reminds me of a situation where you could be looking through the window, you could be sleeping, you could be reading a book, you could be even looking through TikTok, at the reels, scrolling. You could be doing something very, very mundane, and I cannot say how lovable you are in these moments. Like, let's say from the standpoint of the fly on the wall, it's very like a fragile, innocent, also very, very distinct way that, you just look at pile number 2 and you say, they are worth the universe. That's what I'm feeling like it's the case. You have no idea. You just have no idea. I feel like it's pile number 2 is submerged into something of a perception gap. You have no idea how loved you are. I feel like nobody told you they love you. Or for some of you, it's like, I was told, but I could never understand it. there is no, I don't know how to say it, but there is no law above the concept of how lovable you are. With this Empress, it's talking about your pure raw expression. That's what like people love. um, and this is going to be the moments again when you least expected it. So that's going to be the moments where you didn't know people watched you. That's the moments where you didn't know that, let's say you were like traveling, or you were on a bus and you were like sitting there like looking through the window, or you were in your own car. Okay, it could be also the case, and you have strangers looking at you, you have people randomly looking at you and just being in the state where they are offering you compliments in their mind and really admiring you, really looking at you and seeing like how gorgeous pile number 2 is. And you're like turned with your back to it, because this pile in reverse has this card like with the Capricorn, which is turned from the Empress. Like, you do not know how many compliments you could receive. You do not know how endearing and how beautiful you are, like with this Empress. It's like literally abundance level. It's high, like abundant being, abundant ways in which you are expressing and being into the world. That's like, it's skyrocketing. And especially when you don't expect it. Like, this is very interesting because I didn't see this coming. I didn't have this message in the other like previous readings, but it's a relatively interesting concept, because when you think about it, as I was saying with pile number 1, when you sleep, when you do something very mundane and you're not focused on what's happening in the room, what you perceive, you are the most natural, let's say. You are the most like in these states, like with your guards dropped. So it can be the case that you receive a great many compliments, and a lot of compliments and just admiration that you are not aware of. We also have the Queen of Swords. You could be the Queen of Swords, by the way. You could be someone who perceives. Oh my god. You could be someone who perceives themselves or wants to build this very, like, cutting, cold character. You are very admired and loved for that as well, because there is a lot of dignity, there is a lot of respect, there is a lot of authority that's linked to pile number 2 that people adore and love. But I feel like it's coming from this deep-seated sense of unlovable and being on guard. But still, with the Queen of Swords energy, you are being seen as highly intellectual and very smart. People love this about you. People love this about your character, that you are very settled, also very pragmatic, rational, and also very, as I said, smart and intellectual with this. It's very clear. Like with pile number 2, you could be very on point. You could be very like business oriented. If I need something then I make it work. That's the kind of attitude I see coming through. Um, Also, there is no need to say it, but of course, pile number 2 is no BS. That's for sure the case with pile number 2. It's like literally um, no nonsense. Pile number 2 is like, I don't have time for this. If you have invested in a character, or I feel like more so this is more about who you are. If you invested in strength of character, if you invested in the ways in which you look, like the ways in which you are perceived, the Death card, it's a very like, aside from its traditional meaning of transformation, whatever, it's a very serious, very non-emotional, also can be the case in here. But when people see you arrive, there is an aura of importance, there is an aura of authority that people love and adore about you. and that people recognize and understand that the caliber of your character requires you to be in places of power and jobs or activities of power or of high responsibility. People love that they can count on you. Also, is the channeled message with pile number 2. There are again repeating cards from pile number 1, and I shuffled so many times. Still, we have again the Temperance. You know, there is something about you very like thorough and very like to the point, very like solving issues to their core and to their root, and that's very, very, very admired for you. Like, I saw the Eight of, and I'll take it out, like the Eight of Swords in this case scenario. It's pile number 2 has no tolerance for drama and for beating around the bush. And in reverse, because this 8 of Swords is in this pile, it's temperance and 8. It's like, just bother me when the situation is dire. Just like literally attract my attention at that time of the day where it's literally urgent because I don't have time. And there is a very strong power to solve and to address something on a core level with linked to pile number 2 where it gets fixed instantly. Okay. What's lovable about you is what your life situations and circumstances revealed you to be, and basically who you ended up being as a result of all of it, somehow refining and revealing. I don't want to say refining because there is nothing to refine in here where you see perfection, but it's almost as if some key circumstances touched and molded some sort of character traits to show up. As a result of it, you were those traits all along. You had those traits all along, but the circumstances revealed them. Okay. I'm so tired. Like, we have identical cards from pile number 1. Like, I can't believe it. And we have the star. I wouldn't be surprised if in the shadows you could be talked about a lot. You could be gossiped about a lot. You could be in the center of attention without you even necessarily wanting it. Yeah, I can't believe it. Like, we have the identical cards from pile number 1. Not all of them, but still. Temperance, Star, Empress. And we have major arcanas all over the place. Very important. Like, what's lovable about you is like how you are being seen and felt like the core staff, the core members of the team type of energy, the core. Things are not going to move forward if pile number 2 is not present, or there is some sort of addition to the atmosphere of the whole room as a result of you just being there. That's what I feel like is the case with this pile, and you turned your back on it. Like, you're not very aware of it necessarily, but yeah, that's that's what I feel like is the case. With the Fool card, you could be very spontaneous. You could be very, but again, it's very controlled. It's a very controlled demeanor somehow. Like, it's very interesting. The things that you create, do, whatever, it's like very filtered through. But with the Fool, it's again, the message is identical from pile number 1. It's like your raw self deserved much better than you experienced. Like, your raw expression is very lovable. That's what I'm trying to say in here. I would say we have a necessity in here with the energy from the Fool card being like more careless, because again, this pile feels also very dense at times. But it's also the case of a guard in here, like having a very like strong guard to themselves and to the idea of love in general, because you feel very um you protect yourself from everything that's like linked to that love domain. Or I don't know, this is like I get a very restricted channel of information when it comes to pile number 2. It's almost as if, the information I receive, it's on the surface level somehow. Like you don't allow me to go into the details about why you're lovable, but I can still scrap some sort of details in here that would allow me to go and scratch the surface, but still, um yeah, let me channel through something else. Why do people find you lovable? With the Emperor in reverse, that's so strange. Like, with the Emperor in reverse, it's like the moments where you surrender. Because the moments in which you surrender are the moments where you feel like the most open, or you feel like the most in receiving that kind of love. Okay? Like, this is fascinating with the Emperor, how much um, control you can exert over yourself, and or the ways in which you can show yourself into the world. And again, we have all the major arcanas, not all of them, but still, like, we have an abundance. We have only two minor arcanas in here, and it's very fascinating how you can, like, in the reading, I tend to make these like fall. Also, what's interesting about this pile with the Six of Cups, we have a very rare but interesting energy of honesty, sincerity coming through from some sort of people who are basically very interested in helping you out. Like, what's lovable about you, it's like recognizing this pure aspect of yours, like that is innate and that's like very powerfully like loved. And it's as if you have like a very restricted number of close people. I don't know why, but for many of it's like you don't trust a lot of people, but you haven't here people who genuinely want to help you. Because the Six of Cups, these could be people from the past, this could be friendships or people who proved themselves to be very trustworthy, but they are very rare somehow. But why you're lovable, it's like the aspect of purity that's coming through with the Six of Cups, like the aspect of innocence and who you are on a raw, like unfiltered level, beyond like guards, beyond like walls, castle walls, whatever. Why you're loved, it's for this like inner child aspect that's coming through. I also see or feel like from this pile, it's the energy of people wanting to genuinely help you, regardless. Like, I want to say the one-on-one interactions that come through with this pile, um, before people get to be faced with maybe gatekeeping or somehow being outside, they see you and they try to approach you, they try to basically be very close or would want to be very close, but there is like a lot, like there is a layer of protection in here that prevents it from unfolding. Okay, you have another major arcana. This time it's the moon. I feel like you are being loved for both your depth and for your fierceness, because as I was saying that, I was looking at the wolf in this representation. It's like you are loved for the vastness of your character. You are loved also for not being like, let's not necessarily like say plain, like you're being loved for the depth that you innately possess, and that people would like to get immersed in that depth, but they feel like you won't give them access necessarily. So it's almost as if you have these people, like, first of all, looking at the Six of Cups, people feeling like the internal pull or the internal connection to establish something with you. It could be also from a friendly scale or from a friendly spectrum, and they feel pulled or drawn towards you with the moon card, but also kind of afraid. And that mix of things makes like their adrenaline level really high. And you have this, first of all, like desire of closeness from people. It could be also new people. um, but at the same time, with the moon, it's as if there is hesitation, and there is like a price somehow to pay, or there is like, it's very expensive to be with pile number two, because it's unlikely that like they are going to choose us. For some reason, it's interesting because we have a lot of inaccessibility coming through from pile number two, because this second card shows two towers, and it reminded me of, like, towers remind me of loneliness or separation for some reason, and we have two of them. So you could be meeting a lot of people who have a mutual desire to be, or to have a relationship with you that would be, let's say, similar in needs, but somehow there is like this gap. Like, you wouldn't believe how many people or how many situations you can get pretty well along with, because of these two towers in here. I feel like this is like so out there, but you have people interested in you, but they're also just as afraid to step up, or they are having their own boundaries, guards, whatever in place. And yeah, it's very interesting. Like, I saw this for the first time in the moon card. I knew that there were some towers there, but wasn't quite sure. So, also because this is like a twin situation, towers, it could be that people see themselves in you, and they have this very big desire to approach you and to be in the same gang. But this is not happening. I don't see this happening. Like, I see still separation, and this separation with the moon card, like, it could be confusion, it could be hesitation, it could be distance, it could be a mutual feeling of fear, or not being sure how to step up, or to even step up in the first place. But I would want to say, in this pile, you wouldn't expect, you don't even know how many people are actually hooked on you. And when I say hooked, it's not necessarily like addicted or necessarily hooked, but people interested, people wanting to know what's going on, like people just wanting a more one-on-one interaction with you. That could also be the case. And I bet this pile would feel like they are lonely and on an island type of feeling, but there are a lot of circumstances and open windows of opportunity for you. But somehow, this hesitation that's coming through, and especially with the trauma I have described, or like, no, I don't know if it's necessarily trauma, but some sort of dynamic that's preventing you from achieving this closeness. So I would definitely say you don't know how many people are interested in you, and it's an interested, genuine desire to be with you. Like with the Six of Cups, it's like, let's be friends at least. Like, let's, it's not, I don't feel like this is a case where, be wary of people who are interested in romance only. No, because I feel like, Six of Cups is a very pure card for me from this standpoint. But what's impeding this is the Moon card. So it's a very mixed message of, try to be more like, leave a space, like, leave an open space for communication or for access, for people to basically enter some form, shape, way into your life, because I don't feel like you would necessarily regret it. Okay, a very deep pile, I want to say, as I was channeling, this is a very strong, deep energy that's coming through. We have the Six of Coins in reverse. I feel like one interesting aspect of your character makes it so that you are very high maintenance and very high uh price, let's say. Somehow, like with the Six of Pentacles, like you're not easily accessible. That's something that makes you really valuable, and like you know your price. What people love about you is like the way in which you build your character, the way in which you live your life, and the ways in which you create stuff or make things work individually. Because with the six in here, it's like it's a card of giving, of charity, of exchange somehow. Um, and especially it's coming from you to the side of the people, and it being in reverse, it's like you guard your energy and you prevent it for slipping or spilling in the wrong cup. It can be the case, but what people love about you is that you are very smart about the relationships that you enter in, and that's something that's very much applauded, and that you won't let vampirism or people benefiting from you or from your resources. That's something very honorable and very loved about you. It's like you're being very smart, again coming through with the perspective of the Queen of Swords, like very harsh energy when it comes to like profiting. People don't get the chances to profit off of you, and that's very fortunate, I would say, because your boundaries feel like they're very strong. One interesting aspect that's coming through for this pile as well as a feeling, it's that you don't necessarily like want to exceed expectations or to create milestones that would be socially acceptable or socially recognized. You are being known or loved for the fact that you build your own path and you create your own milestones. This could be more of a credo, this could be lifestyle decision, or something you truly believe in, and that you make it happen regardless of the feedback or regardless of what people think or what people aspire to or compare themselves to. So I can also clarify that this can look like success, by the way, but it can be very defined in a certain sense. And what I mean by that, people can have a desire to have money, for example, and to show it off, to show that they are very like established in that domain. Well, for this pile, it's deeper than that, and for this pile as well, it's not the money that's actually the end goal. And I don't say that there is something wrong in relishing in a sense of abundance, whether it be money or relationships or something else entirely. But I feel like for this pile, it's deeply thought through, and it's even deeper than just the regular stuff. And for some of you, like it could be literally, I want money and I want to relish in it, but the most important thing that I want money for, it's, for example, creating impact. And I feel like this is the case where you could be even more invested in your life's work or in your purpose and the innate value that you will receive as a result of it, like via finances, relationships, whatever. But this is, or it feels like this is not necessarily the end goal. And that makes you stand off from like the general, and people cannot quite surely grasp this fully, but still, I feel like they can get an inkling or they can get a feeling off of your character display, and they feel like they have to learn or they have a lot to learn from you, and that you are very, very wise, or that your purpose or your directions in life are very refined or very defined. And also, yeah, we have Hermit. I want to say this is quite fascinating because you have an overabundance of cards in the major arcana, and this means something apparently because major arcanas represent the grand themes, or let's say the immutable aspects in our lives, where the minor arcanas represent the temporary. You have an abundance in major arcana, so it could be that your life was, is, and will be heavily influenced by some sort of divine orchestration. Or it could feel also that your life was kind of lived by you, but not necessarily with your controlling it. So it can be the case that you've learned a lot from your journey, but you could feel like you don't necessarily have the ownership over a lot of things that you do in life. So that's quite interesting because, again, we don't see this every day, but there is a strong sense of your life somehow being influenced and directed by a lot of factors from the, let's say, divine spectrum, or spiritually speaking, this is a very, very spiritual person who's watching, a very spiritual collective. I want to say every single pile is spiritual in nature, but the ways in which each pile expresses in that direction varies, and it's quite amazing and very diverse. So um, yeah, the Hermit, again, it's not surprising that I was talking about wisdom, and the Hermit represents that as well. It represents a journey of becoming or harnessing that wisdom. So it can be literally the case that you, as a result of your experience, gathered a lot of insight and intuition, or like listening to your intuition and gathering the insights as a result of it and becoming really powerful or established in that way. So much so that you could literally be an example for people, or they could ask you for advice and you could give them something really sound. So, yeah. Okay, so I think that's all pile number 2. I got so immersed in it, I forgot even the number. If you enjoyed the reading, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Consider also donating for the channel if you enjoy the readings. I think that's all. Please take care of yourselves. Also, don't forget to review the older videos on my channel. They should be also very interesting. If you enjoyed this one, chances are you're going to enjoy the others as well. Okay, take care. Okay, and we are on to pile number 3, those of you who chose the orange elephant. What I want to say right off the bat with this pile, which is very interesting, it's your card is a time of healing in reverse. I feel like the pace in which you heal and change as a result of it, it's unimaginably fast for a lot of people who are in your life. What you're loved for, it's the innovation and the changes that you bring to life. It's almost there is like the precipice and the hesitation or the waiting for the fully fledged version of you, because a time for healing in reverse, it's as if you are ready mentally or you know what you are aiming for, but the body doesn't quite necessarily like it doesn't uh flow according to the pace that you would want. And let's be honest, your pace could be quite accelerated even for you. And a time of healing for people, like what they love you for is the fact that you're ever changing, ever transforming, ever like innovational. Okay, that's the pile. And also, if this is not in regards to healing, this could be about in general the attitude in life that you have that makes you change, that makes you be like, people refer to you as to someone who's very evolved and who's very on the run for the latest, most innovative, or most brainstorming. um I don't know how to say it, but it's almost as if you're on the verge of thought with everything that's new. And of course, everything cannot be the case, but you must be having some sort of very particular things that you're interested in. Especially because this is healing, this is going to talk about people who are basically very good at changing or healing themselves, healing their character, becoming very aware. This is also a very aware pile, but also very mystical, mythical, also very whimsical can be the case. I can't believe I'm saying so many words from this. But it's also a paradox where you could be very simple in the sense that you are genius in your simplicity. I want to say there is something about you that's very organized, also very like brilliantly structured in a way that's very concise. And also because I see this representation with the moon, it's people think that you are simple at first, but when they get to know you better, they are mind blown. What this means is like literally you don't invest in showing off. That's basically what's coming through. You don't care for the appearances. Some of you might be, but in a very defined, smart, and also very, very smart, very acutely aware way, let's say. And you are vast, like you are infinite. It's like you're that kind of person who's going to be in a room silent, and when somebody asks you a question or your opinion about stuff or about something, then you open up, and it's like people literally mind blown. How is this person so silent, and how are they not so interested in showing off all of the information that they know about everything? That's the case with pile number 3. So also very mystical. This pile could be into spirituality, just like the other piles I was talking to just now, but heavily this pile can be involved in some sort of like spiritual practice, something that sustains you. I see also clarity of mind, clarity of soul, purity is the case also, and basically people feeling entranced. Entranced, huge, big time. Like, I also feel like you are 1, 2, or 3 steps ahead of the game with only yourself, and you believe, or you can be the case where you can be that person who's basically like, I am in constant competition with myself. Well, what I want to say, the things that you establish and you put in motions are so fast and they evolve so quickly that, you know, you should be really like, I don't want to say like even mindful, but you could be having some desires. They could be like some time passes, these desires could evolve, and the next day it's like very dangerous because you could have obtained something that you wanted, but like now you are dissatisfied because you were over it. So it's like the manifestation for pile number 3. It's happening slower somehow, and slower even for the desires of pile number 3. So what people love you for, I want to say, of course people don't understand what I'm talking about when like they don't know the stuff I'm telling you in the reading, or they're not necessarily aware of the things that I'm saying right now, but they get an inkling, they get a feeling, and when they get this feeling, it's as if they want to be in that reality with you. It's like we want to be besides pile number 3 for us to basically participate in this whole magic thing as well. So it's like you could be very quiet. I don't know why, like this, like and the clock is 13:13. I keep seeing numbers, repeating numbers so many times. I'm not sure what it means because I've had so many explanations of this, but literally everywhere, to the point where this feels like it's very strange. Every day I see this. And it started from the day I started only meditating and exclusively doing that, but that's strange, that's off topic. So much is about pile number 3 that's lovable. So much that people cannot grasp it. It's very hard for me to distinguish between the energies of what I'm trying to say in here, but very magical, very like an, you know that feeling when you buy, well, for example, let's say you are very hyped about a movie and you buy the disc or you buy the thing that's like the physical or whatever, and you look at the disc and you're already hyped up, but you start watching the movie, let's say you put the disc in whatever and you start watching it, and it's like takes you over, like the joy, it's multiplied to 3 or to 10. That's literally the case with pile number 3. I don't know why I said disc, but whatever. It's as if, you know, we have this heavily concentrated point or concentrated, dense character of yours in space or in the database of people living on this earth, in this like country of yours, whatever the case may be for you. And it's as if when people unlock or they get to peer or to understand who you are, it's basically overwhelming. It's overwhelming because people are not used to that kind of openness or vastness. I want to say vastness, yeah. It's like you have an opinion pretty much on everything, and you're very, very established in the ways in which you live your life, you evolve, and you grow. Pile number 3 is ever growing. Ever growing, and also fascinatingly captivating for people. They are all ears, but they are overwhelmed. I want to say this pile is overwhelming in information that I'm channeling. It's also an abundance of information. I feel like I could be dealing with piles in general who are more talkative than the others, and pile number 3 is the most talkative, by the way. I wouldn't be surprised if, given the opportunity, pile number 3 would basically write a book in the comment section. Or I wouldn't be surprised if you would explode the comment section with messages in regards to your life, in regards to your progression in it, and I'm also very acutely interested in what is going on with pile number 3, because it's just so much that's on your mind that you don't express, that you don't say, that you don't open up with. And I'm like wondering, I'm not wondering necessarily, but like the thought is, yeah, I know the world doesn't have the capacity, but you do have the capacity. Like, you have to express. Do you even have an outlet? Pile number 3, do you have an outlet for all of this expression? Because this is insane. And it's mind-blowing, because this is only what we get from the beginning. Like, this is the alpha version, alpha, beta, like the starting versions. We are in healing, so it's like this is not the end product. So it's already so much for people, and this is not even the final product. So yeah, I want to say the people who are going to be honored with your presence into their life are going to feel like you are a lot of things to them, and unbelievably a lot of needs of theirs are going to be met. Or let's say at least you're going to be a very interesting addition to the team. It reminds me of characters from game who are so vast. Like, I have so much respect for defined personalities, and this pile has not only that, but it's like another step like ahead of the game, where it feels like even better, even like farther. Like, this pile could have like, and that's literally what people love about you. I find this hilarious, to be honest, because I forget even to ask this question. You don't understand perhaps how much you're loved, or that you are loved deeply, okay? But this pile, it's insane. Like, I don't have the time to pick up everything, but your character, your life, your status, like the ways in which you think, the ways in which you establish an opinion about yourself, about the world, the ways in which you create relationships, and your relationship to the world. Like, it's so much. It's so, I want to say, people feel this admiration, okay? But the admiration, it's, they don't understand anything, okay? Like, they don't understand literally what's happening. Do you know the case where, like, yeah, it's like literally, I can't, it's so funny. Did you have situations where you felt drawn to people, you don't understand why? but you are feeling drawn to these people. Yeah, literally the case with pile number 3. Like, people feel drawn to you, they don't know why, they find the layers, and I would expect this pile to be unfolding in very interesting and very, let's say, unexpected ways. Some people who claim to know you, they also like claim to know you literally, because there are layers to you that are unimaginably hidden, and not because you're hiding them, but because there is no time, or there maybe wasn't a context for it. So it can be the case for this to be about pile number 3. But and also we have like we have a moon who's being covered by shadow, and we have only this very tiny crescent moon, or how do you even say it, but we are not even at the final like phase or final product situation. You are yet in for so many things. It's insane. It's actually insane how this is only a card, and I usually struggle with only one card channeling because I can pretty much easily exhaust a message, but this pile feels really exciting. Yeah, and not in vain I'm saying that basically if you were to be let to express and to say you would explode the comment section, feel free to do that, because I benefit a great deal off of it. But or if you want, you can. If you don't, that's completely fine. But I want to say, you have the moon and the 3 of Swords. Every single drop of pain and issues and frustrations and whatever was only adding up to that magic that you already possess. We are dealing in here with a heavy, strong message of alchemy and alchemizing pain into I don't know what, but it's a lot, okay? I feel like you came specifically into this life to advance, evolve, and show the world the depths of self-awareness and the depths of expression into this world that are unimaginable to a great many people. To a lot of people. Like there is rarity that's coming through with this pile, very exquisite quality, but also almost as if it's in disguise or it's hidden. What you're loved for is the depth, of course, with the moon. They feel drawn to you with the 3 of Swords. It's the experience, and also your light was never dimmed. Your light was never covered, was never dimmed by situations. If anything, you went through situations, they were, like, let's say, temporarily messing with your light, but you could be the example to show people that you can go through stuff and still remain untouched. You could go through heavy stuff and still remain someone of, like, still have the spark of life inside, like, your eyes. Like, literally, you have some very high degree of magnitude of, like, gratitude or joy of living despite all of the experiences that you went through. And I feel like this pile has seen some very disturbing things or very painful things with the 3 of Swords. Like, this is not like and the 2 of Swords, I would be expecting to for a lot of you to say, like, I don't want to talk about it, or it's something of a secret. It can be the case, by the way. It can be something of a secret. Can't believe it. This is so strange. But also there is, like, again, 5 of Cups in reverse. Like, you are over it. I don't want to spread that negativity, or I don't want to go there, or I don't want to take off the channel with that message, and I don't want to burden people. Yeah, I was saying burden people, and I was taking the 10 of Wands. Yeah, this message is literally on point. You could also be someone who is very people oriented. You could be also someone who's, like, oriented towards the help of others, and you are very connected to people. The virtues for pile number 3, I don't have like literally space and time to say them all, but you bring a lot of comfort to people. I want to mention that as well. Powerfully, you're bringing a lot of comfort to people, and it's because of your past experiences. Yeah, it's like this pile is very experienced. Also, I see, like, I want to say you've got the most like stressful, disturbing cards in the section when I was talking about like clarifying stuff. But it's fascinating how your energy takes over and cleanses and purifies every single card that's negative, where it shows its highest potential. And I can't believe I'm saying that, because I was keeping that in the cellars of an information, but there are exalted elements of negative cards, and I'm sure this exists already, but I kind of have my take on it. Basically, the Three of Swords, the exalted potential with it is going to be the healing, or the greater life, or the greater felt experience of life as a result of healing from the Three of Swords. It's the before person and the after person. Also, the Ten of Wands. The Ten of Wands, I was taking a pause to even think about this, but like literally every card has it. The exalted version of the Ten of Wands, it's like the worthy, or the result of the pains, which can qualify for a lot of people, or the experience of abundance as a result of carrying all of this, or the consequence, or the heavy stuff you went through. Like, all of the negative aspects, you have to understand that, and you know it for sure, has to have innately something positive that it carries with it. For example, a person who went through poverty, that experience of poverty already can reveal and show a lot of insight and knowledge in that domain. Or people who went through heartbreak, they can uh, testify that, or give testimonies of the fact that there is experience still that's of very powerful nature. Like, this is literally pile number 3, exalting energies, and like the moon card. I usually don't see the moon card as a very positive card, but in this case, it's almost as if you do have that depth. You do have that scary depth and that scary aspect of the unknown. But my God, like, you delve so deep, and you are aware of a lot of dynamics that happen there, that you could be like quitting it, rising to the surface, and people are not as aware, and you could be very aware of a lot of things that people generally are not very aware of. And this is coming through as like this moon card, as if you've been there, you've explored that part of yourself. um, Something about you is very people oriented, something about you is very like social and happy, and very like, I want to make new friends, I want to know the world, I want to travel the world, or I want to give. I want to give to the world something, where I want to offer something. So definitely, and only you're only on the beginning journey. I can believe this. It's fascinating how this pile, it's no matter what you throw at them, it doesn't really matter, because it all gets transformed, it all gets changed for the better. And I really, really love that I see this for you in this case. Yeah, and with the Five of Pentacles, you could have had issues with abundance problems. Let's say you've had rough experiences for sure, but it's a lot of healing that's coming through with this pile, and you've transformed a lot of these elements or aspects. If anything, I feel like this pile is qualified to represent an example of, you can live a difficult life, you can transform it, and you can then be grateful after it, because you've realized how much the negative experience taught you to basically show up, step up, and reveal yourself. I want to say also, this pile feels really vast, very boundless, and also a great many things for a great many people. Like, this is very interesting because I want to say a great majority doesn't even know or understand and recognize who you are, because you are very multifaceted. And this is very strangely the case where there are only a very few people who are going to understand you fully or have the maturity or the expansion to basically grasp you fully. Like, this is unbelievably the case, but for people to contain pile number 3, they would have to be really, really, like, also very expanded or expansive, because this is not going to be a pile who's going to be understood a lot. Okay, or you could be selectively related. People could selectively relate to you, but to the fullest extent, people don't understand or grasp, okay, who you are, what you are. But this is the case where it feels like, yeah, you are like a walking mystery for a great majority of people. And there is such a strong energy of you giving or you expressing or you something exchanging, like exchanging something with the world. And like, everything is in motion already. You are there doing that, but don't get used to anything right now. Don't get used to anything that's in the present moment, because there is something even greater, um, ahead of the game, next stage, whatever. Like, literally, this pile is so not defined. I can't believe it. Like, um, I don't know how to explain it and for what reason, but generally, I saw in the reality, people established in great many things, meaning that they have laid roots and they decided, like, for heaven's sakes, I'm not gonna cover that anymore. Well, this pile feels like they're ever expanding, ever changing, ever. Like, and again, I'm coming back to this dimension of the speed that you do that in, and I don't know when and why this is coming through, but this is like the innate, like, this is coming from your, like, soul quality, and that's like who you are. But this part is like, it's going to be quite the annoying example, or not a proper one, but you could be like, um the example of a child, let's say, who wants a toy, says, I want this toy, and the parents are going to be like, the universe in this case is going to be like, okay, let's deliver, let's order the toy. A week passes, the toy arrives, and you're like, thanks, but yeah, I kind of have the desire for another one. And this example is in the context of the universe and the desires and the progression in life in which you walk. And I feel like this is a very beautiful and positive message in that way, because it shows that you are ready to embark on the next thing, like, it's a thirst for life that you usually don't see every day. And it's something that I consider to be the antidote for depression or for apathy. Well, definitely it's about this pile. It's also, there is no thing that's registered on the radar of pile number 3 that's classified as an issue. I feel like you would be like, that's not an issue, that's something I can work with. That's not an issue, that's a problem. And if it's a problem, then it has to have a solution. There is no despair, there is no, and it could be, you could have had despair, or you could have had disparity or scarcity in your life in the past, but you've learned to switch gears, to transform, to change the direction or the course in the direction of the key or in the direction of the answer to the question. That's fascinating. That's fascinating. Like pile number 3, it's very, like, it surprises me quite honestly. And I literally had to close my eyes because I'm overwhelmed with information. It usually happens also with the other piles, but I feel like, man, I should be literally like just abandoning the cards, closing my eyes, and saying for pile number 3, 1, 2, whatever. And I imagine I could say a lot of things, but yeah, what people love you for, it's unfortunately, though, I want to say it's very interesting this comes through, but only a fraction. Only a fraction people understand you, so like only that fraction they can love. Only that fraction they can grasp and love. So, it could be literally as simple as, you have some sort of, let's say, desire to care for pets, let's say, for animals, and you have people who's like also animal lovers, and they love you for it. They love that they see you being genuinely interested in helping those animals, or genuinely having that side of you. But that's all, okay? That person, like, to their degree of self-awareness, to their degree of appreciation, they can only grasp that layer, that shelf of life when you could have millions or thousands, whatever the case may be for you. And it's like people do love you. They love you a great deal. Like, I can't believe I'm channeling with such an exquisite like clarity when I'm closing my eyes. Should I even abandon the cards and only do channeling? Because at this point it's like insane. Like, you are loved. I can feel that you are loved. I can feel that you are loved in great many ways that you cannot imagine, but they are selective. They are selective. They are to the extent of that person's quality of consciousness, okay? Maybe I should try reading, but without the cards and basically just like using one. Maybe I'll do that in the future. Okay, so that's all, pile number 3. That was a very exciting, very, very wonderful pile. All of them are. I give selective compliments for each pile, but I really love your energy as well. Thank you so much for watching. If you do like the message, please do remember to like, to comment below that you're pile number 3, especially to donate if you want for my channel and for the work that I do. And I hope to see you in the future readings. Take care, pile number 3.